To the extent that national polling in June for presidential elections matters or tells us anything, Donald Trump is increasingly in trouble as of late. There was some speculation over the last week or two that this really bad 2-week period that Trump had, including this ridiculous incident around Judge Curiel from Indiana and him not being able to fairly be a fair arbiter of the Donald Trump University fraudulent case that's going on because his parents are Mexican. It was a early indicator that the polling numbers were going to be hurt for Donald Trump, and indeed that has happened. Take a look at this graph of recent polling. Of course, Trump in the red line there, and you see falling off a cliff and going back to numbers not seen nearly, well, first of all, at the beginning of April, you saw them briefly, but other than that, not seen since last summer for Donald Trump. The 4 most recent polls don't even have Donald Trump polling 40%. Here is a list of some of those polls that I'm referring to, and we'll look through them. A new Bloomberg poll has Hillary Clinton nationally 12 points ahead of the presumptive but not quite yet official Republican nominee Donald Trump. You'll see Trump behind by 3 points in a Fox News poll, by 4 points in a Rasmussen poll, by 8 points in a Reuters poll, and closer in Economist, IBD, and Quinnipiac polls. Those are the older polls. And as the Real Clear Politics average now shows us, Hillary Clinton polling an average of 44.1%, Donald Trump polling an average of 38.6%. Now, we have to sort of contextualize this, Lewis. When is the last time that a presidential candidate won the election with 44% of the vote in a two-way race? I don't know. Not recently. I can't think of when. So clearly, there is a non-insignificant portion of the electorate which is showing up as supporting a third-party candidate in these polls or as unsure. That will decrease, but the numbers are not looking very good for Donald Trump right now. Now, you might come to me, Lewis. You might say, David, I am producer Louis Motamedi, and I'm coming to you with a question, which is, do polls in June of an election year really tell us much? Do they serve as predictors of what will happen in November? And I would say to you, Lewis, I happen to have data to show you. Let's put that data up on the screen. Currently, as I mentioned, we have Hillary Clinton polling 44%, Trump about 38.5%. That is a 5.5 percentage point lead for Hillary Clinton on June 15th of an election year. Well, what about 2012? In 2012, as of June 15th, President Obama was ahead of Mitt Romney by only 0.8%. And ultimately, he defeated Mitt Romney in November handily. What about 2008? Well, in 2008, President Obama, then Senator Obama, led the Republican nominee John McCain by 3.7%, a smaller lead than Hillary Clinton currently holds over Donald Trump, and he ended up winning in November. And in 2004, President Bush, seeking re-election after one of the most abortive first terms of any president in the modern era, at this point, June 15th of 2004, he led the Democratic nominee, John Kerry, by 1.4% and ultimately did win. So what can we say, Lewis? We can say that in the last 3 elections, the leader on June 15th did ultimately win in November, and their leads were significantly smaller than Hillary Clinton's lead is today. But there's a pretty strong devil's advocate argument to be made, which is, yeah, but David, everything is different. Donald Trump is the nominee. This is not like any other election, and maybe this data is worthless to us.
Maybe. But also in the previous 3 elections, there was no realistic third-party candidate. You don't know, maybe there won't be this time either.
Right.
But anyway, it means we can look at this information we have now and say, maybe this means something. And Donald Trump has had a bad few weeks. We've said before that we don't think Trump can beat Hillary. You also said he won't be the nominee. So
I said it a number of times.
Maybe we'll end up making another one of those funny videos of us being wrong.
Maybe we will. And later I do want to talk about whether shootings like the one that happened in Orlando help one particular candidate or the other. It's horrible that we even have to have that conversation, but we do, and we'll have it a little bit later. I've talked about how people of all ages, but particularly millennials, are owning cars less and participating more in the sharing economy. And one of the more popular options is Zipcar, which gets you a car when you want it, when you need it. They offer all sorts of cars, SUVs, hybrids, whatever you need. It includes insurance and it includes gas. You just pay for the time that you actually use the car, and you can reserve the car online from your smartphone over the phone. Then you unlock it with your Zip card. Each car share member reduces their personal CO2 emissions by between 1,100 and 1,600 pounds per year. For our audience, Zipcar is offering $25 of free driving credit if you sign up at joinzipcar.com/David. Support our show, reduce your carbon emissions and your spending on cars. Sign up at joinzipcar.com/David.